So I was recently diagnosed with a genetic mutation known as BRCA-1, and I really want to talk about some things today that I wish were more publicly known about this genetic mutation because I have severely underestimated what this diagnosis would do to me physically, emotionally, and financially. Not to mention the toll that it is putting on my future, because that is heavily affected by this diagnosis as well. While I personally am so grateful that such testing exists to allow me to take action for my own health and future, there are many people out there, myself being formerly, there are many people out there, myself being formerly one of them, who are not aware of what this process looks like after getting an official diagnosis with this, or things like what to expect or why somebody would get this test in the first place. So today I'm making this video to share my experience so far and also hopefully share the importance of this entire process, not just for myself, but for anybody else out there who may or may not have a history of different cancers in their family, or anybody who has received a similar diagnosis. Now, before I continue, I do want to let you know that yes, I'm very aware that by talking about this, I'm sharing some vulnerable aspects of my life, and I am aware that can come with consequences, and this is a very personal aspect of my life. But I think that the overall message of this outweighs the risks of any negativity due to the fact that I think it is very important to talk about this for other people out there. I have not seen much content talking about this process, talking about the severity of what a BRCA mutation can be like. I've seen some TikToks about it. I've seen a few people talk about this, but I haven't seen too many people talk about this other than like some medical videos when you look it up by like hospitals and corporations and stuff. Getting this diagnosis is something that doesn't feel good, but it feels good to be able to take action with the knowledge that you gain from it. And that's an important thing that I think is worth sharing. So before we continue, I want to let you know that obviously I am not a doctor. What I am sharing with you is my experience, and the knowledge that I am providing you is knowledge of things that I have gone through, things that my doctors have told me, and any additional information such as statistics are things I've either looked up or received in my own genetic report. I am not qualified to provide you any medical advice. All I can do is recommend that if you have a family history of cancer, it may be a good idea to check in with your doctor. There are people that I know and have had conversations with that are skeptical of getting something like a BRCA diagnosis due to insurance issues and whatnot. I personally have not had any issues, at least as of right now. For my personal experience, I have found the positives to outweigh the negatives for, again, my situation specifically, because it has provided me with a lot of tools, information, and testing that my insurance will now cover. Also, you're going to see me in different outfits in this video because I've recorded this video in several parts, and if this topic goes over well and people want to learn more, I may make a follow-up later on talking about this. I don't know where I'm going to put this part in the video, but I normally don't beg for engagement or ask you guys to please like, but please, if you can with this video, it would be very, very helpful to me. I just have this gut feeling that this video isn't going to perform as well as my others because this is a personal topic and I'm not talking about something going on online, but I feel like this message is important and people should be aware of everything that comes with a BRCA diagnosis because it's something I wasn't aware of even when I got the online DNA test confirming that I had it. Especially on YouTube, it's not talked about enough. On TikTok, it's a little bit more talked about, but even still, it's kind of hard to find relatable content. And at the end of this video, I was given a suggestion to an online community from one of my specialists. If you are somebody going through something similar or know somebody who is, I highly recommend checking it out. It could be useful and it could be helpful and supportive. So yeah, if you can, leave a comment down below. Also, if you could like this video too, that would be extremely helpful. And it would tell the algorithm that this is a video that more people should watch. I was gonna wait a little bit to do this video because I have more appointments and stuff happening, but I just want to talk about it now because if I leave it on the back burner too long, I'll forget about it and I'll never make this video. That's how half of the videos I plan go. There's BRCA1, there's BRCA2, and there's other genetic mutations as well. I was diagnosed with this by my doctors through a blood test, but but I had already known that I had this genetic mutation for a few years due to an online DNA test. Now, I'm not going to mention the company that I used because there is a lot of controversy surrounding that right now, and I'm not endorsing that company. I'm not saying go out and do this. I'm just saying how I found out. I found out through that I had the BRCA-1 gene. It came up in my results. At the time, however, I was switching around insurances, and I just put a lot of things on the back burner, which is kind of one of my biggest flaws. In this particular case, I waited until I got a better insurance just recently, and they recommended I get a blood test to confirm this, and I did, and I found a lot more information out than I was expecting to, and I realized how much more severe this mutation is overall than I had originally assumed. I want to start off by saying that BRCA mutations are not a cancer diagnosis. It is a genetic mutation that greatly increases your overall lifetime risk of unfortunately developing certain cancers. BRCA1 in particular greatly increases your risks of getting breast cancer. It increases your risks of triple-negative breast cancer. It increases your risks of ovarian cancer and other cancers as well, such as pancreatic. And just so you know, this is not a female-only genetic mutation. Anybody with a BRCA mutation can be affected in one way or another, whether it's if you pass this gene on to your kids, you could still get things like pancreatic cancer. Men also have a higher risk of prostate cancer with this diagnosis, and several other things as well. Since I've only been diagnosed with BRCA1, my knowledge is mostly focused around that, so that's what this video is going to be focused on. But that's not to say that BRCA2 isn't important to know about as well. According to Google, roughly 2 million people are diagnosed with cancer every single year, and not everybody diagnosed with cancer has a BRCA mutation. Cancer is a very common thing, and that's another thing online. When people talk about this, it's seen like it's this rare thing that happens when there are certain rare forms, but it's something that a lot of people get every single year. If you've seen previous videos of mine that I've talked about, there was a girl who faked cancer, and then there was also the Boogie 2988 situation. There were points in those videos where I got a little bit heated, and I have shared a little bit of information. I have a very long, extensive family history, so it's something that I'm very familiar with, and it's something, like I was trying to get back to, is pretty common. But for comparison, the chances of developing breast cancer for the average woman without a BRCA mutation is around 12%, while the average risk of somebody with a BRCA mutation, specifically BRCA1, is around 60 to 72%. This is all pulled from Google. I was searching on that. But what I've learned from this situation, when you get the proper genetic testing done, you will get a more accurate breakdown of what your chances are. So after getting the proper diagnosis, I have discovered that my lifetime risk of getting breast cancer is 87%. That is between now and the age of 70, and every year I age, that gets a little higher and a little higher and a little higher. So yeah, those odds are not very great.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
This is a huge binder I got, and I put my little favorite meme, which is the horrors persist, but so do I. Anyway, I'm not showing this full thing because it has my personal information on it. This is my genetic result. I'm not endorsed by this company. It's MyRisk Genetics. So I am at a very high risk for breast cancer, but if I go onto this page here, for ovarian, my overall lifetime risk is 63%. Again, that's just the highest number because it goes between now and the time I'm 70, and as time passes, the odds will increase. I have both an elevated risk of colon cancer and pancreatic cancer, and other cancers that I'm being screened for are skin cancers, and basically literally anything that comes up abnormal at any time during blood tests and scans. That binder is what I bring to every doctor's visit of any kind that I have now, which has been a lot over the past almost 2 months now, month and a half at the time I recorded it previously. I have imaging referrals, doctor's referrals, all these different things in there, and test results in there as well, and that also has my booklet with my genetic testing results. I assumed that all this diagnosis would do for me is allow me to get early mammogram screenings, And I really wish that I researched it more back then. I mean, yes, I do get access to early mammograms now, but that's not the only thing, and it's a lot more invasive than that. And that's why I'm here to talk about this today, because I think more people should know about that. Because had I known about that a couple years ago, I would have a lot of this taken care of sooner, or I would have a lot more decided sooner. Because right now I feel like I've been given a lot of decisions to make and a very short amount of time to make those choices. And that's something that I think is a lot to handle. Information overload has been my biggest burden over the past few months for so many other reasons. I'm sure many of you can relate. And this has just been a whole extra layer of that. And it's been very overwhelming. In the beginning of the year, I switched over insurances and I was going for my annual OBGYN checkup. My doc gave me a referral to get a blood test done for the genetic mutation, and they were fantastic. They, went over everything with me and explained, what the process was going to be like once this information gets back to me. It took a couple weeks. It wasn't like a regular blood test where you could find out the results in a couple days. This was something that took a little bit, and a couple weeks passed, and then I got the result, which, yes, that I had the BRCA-1 mutation. I was positive for it, and that is something that I was not shocked about. I probably scared the crap out of my doctor when I came in, and he's like, yeah, you have like a really, really high chance of developing breast cancer. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm like not trying to make a joke out of it. It's really serious, but I'm just like, I've known this. This is like something I have accepted long, long ago in life. It's just now kind of being like set in stone in a way, being official, I guess, by a doctor. So long story short, I met a lot of doctors really fast after that. My OBGYN gave me several different referrals to see people. One was for a breast specialist, one was for a gynecologist-oncologist, one was for genetic counseling, and there's others too, because each one of those doctors gave me referrals for other stuff, and it kind of feels like being looped into a bunch of side quests, and every side quest you do, you get another referral to another doctor. Or as I like to say, specialists, because when I describe it as doctor, it sounds like I'm just going to my physician, when in reality, these are oncologists, surgeons, experts on things like breast, ovarian, and other types of cancers. A team of people I basically never thought that I would see unless I was given a cancer diagnosis. That's basically what I have right now, and it's something I did not expect. But it's something I'm extremely grateful for, and so far, everyone that I have seen is absolutely fantastic. They are all so kind and so caring and absolutely amazing. I feel comfortable with everybody that I've met so far, and that is one thing that has made this less scary and stressful than it could be. Anyway, back to my OBGYN giving me referrals. And he also gave me a referral to get my mammogram done, so then I went to the breast specialist after I got the mammogram done, and they told me it had no signs of anything, which is awesome, fantastic. I don't have any signs of breast cancer that I know of. The only thing though is that when you get a mammogram done, I didn't know this, but there are density levels, and mine are considered to be the most dense that they can be. So my breast specialist had given me a referral to get an ultrasound done. And I was also given a referral to see a reconstructive breast surgeon, and I had a consultation with them. I'm not getting surgery like tomorrow or next week or anytime, but it's something that basically was like an introductory thing where I meet the surgeon, we kind of go over options, and we figure out what's best for me. So everything up here looks great. I had the ultrasound done, I had a mammogram done, and everything came back normal, which is great, aside from the breast density. On top of that, every 6 months, either for the rest of my life or until I get any type of surgery done, I will need scans. So once a year, I will get a mammogram with an ultrasound, and once a year, I will get an MRI done with contrast on my chest to make sure everything is normal. And if anything at all looks a little suspicious, they will biopsy it, just to be sure. And these scans will be done 6 months apart. So I'll get the ultrasound and the mammogram done one day, and then 6 months from that, I'll get the MRI, and then another 6 months from then, I'll get the mammogram and it'll just keep going. And the reason they do that is because the MRI can show things that the other scans can't, and they both kind of work together to make sure that there is like nothing going on. But right now, as far as I know, everything is good up here. I don't know why I just like, whatever. When it comes to other parts of my body, things are not great. So on top of the BRCA mutation increasing my risks for certain cancers, I have what is known as a fibroid. And I've had this for a while. I think I mentioned this once or twice before in passing in some of my videos. And at the time, it was like this big, like little, like, you know, I get ultrasounds on it a lot. I have really, really, really nasty symptoms that I'm not going to get into and be too descriptive, but they affect my ability to function, especially during a certain time of the month. Lately, things have been extremely weird. For about a year or so, I've been having some different symptoms, like irregularities and some things popping up. And I have found out that this fibroid has gotten bigger. The fibroid has grown to 5 centimeters, which, if you Google it, is roughly the size of a lime. Just for a measurement's sake, is about that big. Or for a visual aid, although I think this is a slightly bigger than 5 centimeters lime, it's about that big. I have something this big inside of me right now. And fibroids are not cancerous, but they are annoying. This thing inside of me, not the lime, where mine is it seems like it's pushing on a sciatic nerve, causing back pain a lot. And it is also causing pain with other stuff. It just sucks, okay? It sucks. It started from pain once a month to pain maybe here and there to like a constant dull pain. Getting to a point where it's starting to become annoying enough where I'm gonna get it taken care of. The physical and mental toll all of this has had on me lately has been a lot, and it really has just been affecting my ability to concentrate on things and focus on literally anything else. So aside from the fibroid thing, I was not going to add this in this video because it's new information and I really feel weird saying this without getting results because I don't want anybody to worry, but it, I want to talk about it. I'm already talking about all of this. I might as well share this as well. After recording both segments of this video, I had a follow-up appointment with my OBGYN oncologist because of the fibroid thing and getting an extra ultrasound. And they want me to get a biopsy just to make sure everything's good. And I'm really, really nervous about it for several different reasons, obviously, but it's a procedure that I've never had done before, and it is one that I'm going to be knocked out for. But yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I don't think it's anything serious. I think most of my symptoms are related to the fibroid. They just want to be absolutely sure. Again, with this BRCA diagnosis, they're taking everything to an extreme level just to make sure nothing is wrong, and I would rather them treat it like that than them brush it off and then have a problem later on because it was missed. From now on, I have a whole care team of people who are basically watching me like a hawk, which in a way I'm kind of happy about because there's like a whole conversation to be had about the dismissive things when it comes to women's health in general or just anybody's health, but there's a lot of reproductive health issues that I feel like often get overlooked. It's something that I feel like I've gone through for a very, very long time. But now I feel like things are finally being taken more seriously because of this diagnosis. There's so many things that I have to consider now. I have to consider a lot of surgical options that have been laid on my plate. I've never gotten a surgery in my life. By the way, getting surgery is like one of my greatest fears. I am terrified of that. And now I'm getting hit in the face with like a million different things that I may have to do in the very near future. And there are so many things that I want to do before I have to do any of this. And now I have to consider my future when it comes to things like children and when it comes to things like just parts of my body being removed and how that's going to be before I turn 35, which is a bit of time from now. But when it comes to some big life decisions, it feels like it's not that far away. I have to decide if I'm going to get my entire chest redone. Insurance will cover this because of my BRCA mutation, but that does not make the worry of any of this any better because this is a major, major thing to go through. It's not as simple as just getting implants or anything like that. They have to take everything and then reconstruct it if I want the reconstructive, which if I go down this route is something I probably will get. That's as far as I'm going to go with my decision making on that. I haven't decided when or what. On top of that, they would like to either remove my fallopian tubes and or my ovaries around age 35, unless of course anything else is wrong, and then, cross that bridge if and when that time comes. Hopefully it doesn't. But that would mean that I would either have to do something like IVF if I don't have children by then, and also possibly getting a hysterectomy, which is getting like your uterus and stuff taken. And there's so much stuff that I just have to consider, and it's just all been kind of hit at once. And it's been almost about 2 months since I've been given this information, and I still haven't processed all of it. I haven't figured out everything that I want to do. On top of things being so scary and terrible in the world right now, there's just so much stuff to really think about when it comes to my future. Please understand that if you do get this BRCA-1 or even BRCA-2 positive result, that your options aren't just, okay, I'm gonna get early mammogram screenings. I mean, you could just do that if you want to, but doctors today are recommending to do so much more. Had I not been given this information, first of all, even if I'm aware of my likelihood of developing it someday, I was not aware of the exact percentages. And on top of that, I now have the coverage through my insurance to get additional testing done. Now, does insurance cover every single penny of it? Absolutely not. It has been a very big financial endeavor that sucks and is very untimely, unfortunately, but it is something that I think is still worth it, because this is hopefully going to improve my quality of life and prevent anything serious from happening down the line. It's a scary thing, and it sucks, and it's something that I don't wish upon anybody, but I am grateful for the testing available, and I personally think that it is something that is very useful, and I think that that's something more people should be aware of, and people should talk about if they have the same thing. I have mentioned this in a community post that I have, recently got some kind of testing, and I was kind of vague about it, and I mentioned video was coming in a few previous videos. I didn't know exactly when. I still don't know exactly when. When you see it, you see it. I've seen a few of your comments talking about family histories and going through things, and I just want to let you know that you're not alone with this. If you have a similar diagnosis, the same diagnosis, or if you're going through something even worse, such as already being diagnosed with any type of cancer, I'm wishing everybody who is watching this all of the best, and I hope that everything turns out okay. I know normally I talk about other things going on. This channel is always just me talking about things that bug me or things that I think need signal boosting, and hopefully YouTube doesn't suppress this in any way because I've said certain words like cancer and breast cancer, but I really think this is something important that should be brought to people's attention, not just for my own sake. I'm not gonna lie, part of this is me venting and being a little stressed and wanting to get this off my chest and complain about it like everything else, but I think that this is important for other people to know about and look into, because I'm shocked at how little there is on YouTube. Right off the bat, I want to say I'm not sponsored by this in any way, shape, or form. I was recommended this by my breast specialist, which is an app/website/community, which is called The Breasties, and I'll leave that linked in the description below. It's an app meant to build a community for those who are or have gone through BRCA mutations, cancer, or supporting somebody who has gone through one or the other. It's a really useful tool that I am new to, but it's something that I think is helpful for those who may feel alone in a overwhelming situation like this. Or even if you don't feel alone in a situation, but might just need a little extra support or want to be involved in the community of people who are going through something similar in one way or another. And for those who aren't affected directly by something like this but want to support that, I think they also have a donation page, which I will link the entire website below for you to check out if you are interested. Again, I'm not sponsored by this in any way. I'm not affiliated with this other than making my own account to try and see what this community is all about, and I'm fairly new to it, but I thought it would be something helpful to those who may be experiencing something similar and could use the extra support. I will see you again in the next video, where we are going to pick up where we left off with the Alice situation. And I originally was not going to talk about the situation going on with a creator named Kayla Malik, but I think that's a really important topic to discuss as well. I really want to be delicate with that situation and take my time with it and give it the attention that it needs. As I've been mentioning for a very long time, I'm still working on the Ashley Tarina video. When I put a video on the back burner, I swear it just gets out of my hands. I'm trying so hard not to forget about this one though, and to actually do this. It's just going to be a complete full story at this point. So yeah, thank you so much again if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Sorry for the rambling, and thank you so much to everybody supporting me over on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. See you later.